All right. So, welcome everybody. Good morning. Our speaker today is Russ Jackman. We are live on Facebook. I'm going to start with reading the daily word for today. Sunday, June 13th, 2021. World Peace. Peace shared between people spreads throughout the world. I contribute to world peace when I join in spirit with all people who dedicate themselves to expressing divine love, united in the belief that God is within everyone. I affirm the divinity of humankind and honor each person as a unique expression of God. I recognize and release any unkind thoughts or feelings towards any person or group of people. I respect all others and seek to learn more about customs and beliefs that are unfamiliar to me as I grow in a spirit of kinship. I believe in a warm, friendly attitude of communicates my intentions as effectively as my words. I smile easily and extend myself to others in a spirit of friendship. I remain mindful that as peace flowers between individuals, peace grows in the world. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Micah 4:3. So I'm excited today to welcome back Russ Jackman. Russ is a ministerial student at Unity Worldwide Ministries and will be completing his ordination soon. He previously served as spiritual leader at Unity of Little Rock and earned his BA from Excelsior College in New York and his doctorate of chiropractic from Life University in Georgia. Russ has been working for over 30 years to help others improve the quality of their life as a chiropractic physician, acupuncturist, spiritual teacher, and mentor. When he doesn't have his head in a book or class assignment, he loves working on his flower beds and running along the Arkansas River and hiking the Washita Trail. I asked you last time, and I don't know if I said that right. Russ currently lives in Little Rock, Arkansas with his wife, Kim, of 33 years. So welcome, Russ.
Thank you. That word is Washita, and it throws everybody off because it doesn't look like Washita. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be back with y'all. So thank you for having me, and thank you for showing up. It's always fun to have a gang, a family to play with, participate together with. Might I invite, today we begin with prayer. And if you're willing, you may close your eyes and just recognize where you're at, the room that you're in. Feel the chair that you're sitting in, and know that no matter where you're at, there's one power and one source present, and that you are that unique expression of that one power and one source. And that no matter where you go and what you do, what roads you travel upon, you always travel as that one power and one source. You are fully human and fully divine. And as we come together in community, we recognize that's part of what a family does for us. They see our humanness and our needs, and they see our divinity and the infinite possibilities that are available to us. And we're grateful that we have a community here at Unity of Stockton to come and be a part of. For our friends and family to recognize us for our humanness, for what our needs may be, but also to recognize us for our divine self, our divine nature, and know that all that potential is available to us, that we are not perhaps the limitations that we see, but the fullness and completeness of the divine in expression as well. That's the truth of our being. And with that, we acknowledge and say thank you. And in the name and in the power of the Christ, so it is. Amen. So I loved that daily word today because it touched on some of where I'm going with what I'm sharing with you. Because I got up this morning and it is sweltering hot here in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's been hot the past week. I like hot. I like to go run in it, walk in it, bike in it. But this week, even I've gone, I don't know about this hot. I was out walking that, not the Washita Trail, but the Arkansas River Trail this week. And it's in downtown Little Rock, which is only about a mile from where I'm at, is where the Arkansas River is. And there's bridges that cross that river. And I was humping it up one of those bridges, um, sweating and sucking for air and wondering why I was out there. And I could look down and see the bank of the Arkansas River, and I could see La Petite Roche. And forgive my incredibly poor French pronunciation, but La Petite Roche is the little rock. I could see the little rock that Little Rock is named for. Um, and as I was looking at that rock, I remembered when the travelers were coming up the river, they would see this little outcropping of rocks before a big outcropping. And they knew that's where they needed to stop because at that little rock, there was a trail that crossed the Arkansas River. People could ford the river back in the 17 and 1800s, which of course we can't ford the river there now, but they could ford it. And my imagination just went wild. I don't know whether it was the heat and lack of oxygen, but I started thinking about it and imaging. Wow, what were they wearing when they crossed that river? Like, were they wading across? Were they on horses? Were they in wagons? And where were they coming from? How long had they been traveling before they got to the Arkansas River? And where were they going? And how far would they have to travel? And how long would it take for them to travel that? And what did Little Rock look like before Little Rock was a city back in the 1700s? So my imagination just opened up. And of course, as things connect in our world, I went, oh yeah, June is the month of imagination. I don't know if y'all remember Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity. He talked about the 12 powers, so the 12 attributes that we can utilize in our life to help us create, but also to help us have more expression and experience as our true self. So those 12 powers, 12 attributes. And June is the month of, is the power of imagination. So this month is all about us recognizing that imagination plays a part in our world. And Charles Fillmore said that imagination is the power to shape and form thought. So the power to shape and form thought. And that imagination, we can take the formless into form. And all that may just kind of make you scratch your head. But what Charles was trying to tell us was that if we look at God and use another word for God and say divine ideas hold all the ideas that could ever be, that ever were, that ever will be. All that infinite potential, those ideas, the idea of, well, let's see here. I've got my wonderful little cup here this morning. How many different cups are there in the world now? How many shapes and sizes and colors and textures and materials? I don't know the answer to that. Hundreds of thousands, maybe? In divine ideas, there are infinite possibilities of cups. But somebody had to imagine this cup. They had to imagine a cup with this shape, this volume, this texture, this color. They had to take all that, and in their imagination, they pulled from those infinite ideas and divine ideas and helped bring them down, form them, make them more specific to bring them down to this particular cup for us. So Charles is telling us that you and I can take that formless, all that infinite potential, and bring it in to something tangible, bring it into form for us. And that's to me important because we live in a world, well, how do I say this? We live in a world I've been struggling with. This past year and a half, the way people have been treating one another, the the anger, the hatred, the the lack of kindness and compassion that we've experienced, the divisions of I'm on this side and you're wrong. No, I'm right. My side's right. All this incredible conflict and strife and challenge um, has bothered me. I guess that would be me lightly stressing how much it's affected me. But I know that you and I can impact that. And our imagination, from what we can learn from Charles Fillmore, tells us that we can shape our world. You know, this is from, well, if I can find it for you, I wanted to give this quote. There he is, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said to us, your imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. So, in other words, our imagination can help us create what is to come. And I think of this, I think about a friend that I have. I've known this buddy for 30 years, and he and I have been through some stuff together, is to put it mildly. We have seen each other struggle and celebrate and everything in between that in that 30 years. And my buddy is passionate about a couple of issues, just passionate to the point of being a zealot. He's so passionate. And when he and I get together, it's challenging sometimes because he wants to talk about what he's passionate about those issues. And I feel like he's a fire hose and then I'm on the receiving end of that flood and he's trying to force all of that down inside me. His ideas, his opinions, his thoughts on those two issues. And what I recognize is that he loves what he's talking about. He's passionate about it. And me being his friend, his buddy, he wants me to love what he loves. So he's trying to get it to me. The problem is, I don't see it like he sees it. I'm not as passionate about it as he is. So in our conversations, we're often more debating than discussing. So I left those multiple interactions with him and started thinking maybe I need to tell him that we can't talk about those topics together just because we don't seem to be on the same page and we don't really have fun when we're discussing or debating those topics. But then I remembered, you know what if he told me, hey, Russ, you can't talk about unity. You can't talk about Charles Fillmore. You can't talk about principles or spirituality. I know you're passionate about it, but I'm not comfortable with it. And I realized he wouldn't do that because he's my friend. He loves me and he knows I care about those things. So I sat down and said, well, then what do I want to see? How do I imagine this to be different in this relationship? And I thought about and imagined a relationship in which he and I hear each other, share with each other, talk about these topics if we want to talk about these topics, but that we really have a conversation and a discussion. And I could see that. I could imagine that interaction. And I could imagine how I felt and how he felt in the experience. And I went back next time I was with him, holding those images, that imagination about what I wanted in that experience. And what I found with him was that we still talked about those issues that were important to him, but he was softer. He wasn't a fire hose with me. there was much more of a recognition on his part that I seemed to get it. Now, what I did was listen and reflect back to him what I was hearing. Oh, hey, you're saying this and this point, and that's what you want me to get. So I was really just reflecting back to him. But in that reflection, he recognized I heard him. And to me, on a deeper level, being heard, he recognized, then you see me and you must care about me, which is true. But to me, I felt it was a recognition piece because instead of debating the ideas that were between us, I was acknowledging his. That didn't mean I was agreeing with what his solutions were to these issues. It was that I was acknowledging that he was present here with me. I saw him, I heard him, and I cared about him. And you know what I found out? He made points that now that I listened to them, I agreed with. Ah! Not that I agreed with the end solution that he had come up with, but hey, we agreed on things. We had common ground on these. But I also noticed that he, in being softer, also started turning over and discussing the points and ideas I was having and sharing with him. And it truly became a conversation. Did we solve the world's woes? Did we come to a conclusion about these issues? No, we didn't. But to me, we found a deeper relationship. And it made me come to recognition that maybe our conflict that we're having, he and I, but our conflict that we're having in the world is really an invitation into a deeper intimacy. Because what I was recognizing in my friend was his needs to be seen, to be heard, to be valued, to be respected. Those are his needs. And I, by being willing to listen and stepping up to him, I acknowledged those needs in him. And now we became a relationship instead of a dialogue on a topic. And in that relationship, we could see one another. We could recognize that we're both fully human and we're both fully divine. And if we can do that, then we can take any topic and have a discussion around it. Because I've heard, as well as you've heard, people that saying, if only these other people would just get on board with, what I think, what we think. We're the side that's right. But I've recognized too that we don't want everybody on just one side. When we have multiple viewpoints, don't we come together if we're willing, come together to really move into conversation? Don't we now have all these opposing viewpoints to pull from to find a solution to the problem? Versus if there's only one viewpoint, then we think there's only one solution. Well, who says that one solution is the best solution? Maybe because we've got such a variety, a diversity of input, we may come up with a solution that we've never come up with on our own. So this diversity and even the conflict may be empowering us to bring resolution to humanity that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Now, I think that we can make a difference in just that individual relationship like I did with my buddy. But I think that we can do that in those relationships in society. So those people that are outside my friendships, my connections, those strangers I meet, those people that I have business interactions with, those whether they're the cashiers or the managers of the places that I do business, that somehow, because it's such a topic of conversation, those points and ideas come up. What if, because we're using our imagination, we can also take those extended people and bring them into having a more of alignment with? And in doing that, can we also then take society, humanity as a whole, and bring us deeper into that understanding? And how do we do that? We do that with our imagination because we're bringing that formless, all these multiple possibilities that are available to us and bringing it into form. You know, I heard that Unity of Stockton is looking for a minister. Well, what kind of minister do you want? Have you used your imagination? And maybe you have. Maybe you've individually imagined what that minister would be like. But maybe even as a community, you've come together and just brought your ideas together, imagined who that being will be for you. Are they going to be, are they going to be an authoritarian that bosses you around? Well, probably not in unity. So what are they going to be? Are they going to be kind, loving? Are they going to be compassionate to those in needs? Are they going to be knowledgeable about finances? Are they going to have a love for youth, for social justice? What are the things that matter to you at Unity of Stockton? That's your imagination in play. And what you do is then take all those infinite possibilities of minister that live in divine ideas and you bring it down into form. It allows you to be more specific and refine it so that you can bring it that relationship forth by helping that person be manifested in your life. And I hear sometimes when we talk about this that some people say, but I got infinite possibilities of minister up here. Why don't I just hold minister and it gives us more chances of somebody showing up for us? That's the formless. All those ideas are the formless. We need to refine it to make it more specific, to bring it down into form. Otherwise, it's so formless that we just can't get it into this material, tangible, physical form. So we need that refining, that specificity of what our imagination can tell us this is. And that's the beauty of imagination, is that we can shape our world because it's bringing our thoughts and our feelings into alignment so that we create. You know, what's the third principle of unity? Unity has 5 principles that are how we approach and look at the world. The third one is human beings create their experiences through the activity of their thinking, and everything in the manifest realm, meaning our physical world, has its beginning in thought. And I would add in thought and feelings is where our beginning is. So how do we get to thought? Well, you got to imagine it to get to thought. That's the first step in thought, is you imagine something. What would it be like? What's it like? How do I do this? There's an imagination step that takes place. So it's the foundation for us creating and experiencing life the way we want it for us. Now, I think that it's exciting that we can step into our world and imagine things, and in our imagination, bring that into thought, use our feelings to help fuel that, and that refines and makes it specific, and now it becomes something tangible in our life. It takes an action step. I think there's another principle in unity. That would be the last one that talks. It's not enough for us just to know these things. We have to do them. We have to take some action with them. And the action might be, if I go back to my cup, somebody might have thought of this, but they had to take some action of putting it on paper and going somewhere and saying, hey, we need to make this. How do we go about that? There were other steps that had to take place than just thinking of that cup. Imagining something more in the completion side of it. So they imagined the cup, but they also imagined it produced. Imagine people drinking from it. Imagining being available in the world. So you and I can do that in this life. We can imagine the world we want. And the best part of that is Mark Twain is quoted as saying, reality can be beaten with enough imagination. So if reality can be beaten, what's the reality? I see a lot of pain, a lot of conflict, a lot of suffering in the world. and most certainly just a lot of not being nice to one another. So, what if we could change that reality? Well, that's what imagination does. The more we can imagine, the more we can see the world as we want it, the more we can help be a part of creating that. Whether that's the cup, whether that's you attracting that perfect minister that's the fit for Unity of Stockton, that helps y'all keep achieve exactly what you want at Unity of Stockton, not Unity of Little Rock, not Unity Atlanta, but Unity of Stockton, because you're the ones imagining, manifesting it. So you get to create what you want. And that's, to me, that is awe-inspiring to me, that you have the power to step into this world and do that. What happens when it doesn't happen? Oh, I thought it. Oh, I thought about it that way. I thought I imagined it that way, but it didn't come out. It doesn't unfold like we thought. I heard Susan kindly told me that y'all had a building that y'all thought you were going to have access to. And that seems to have not unfolded quite like you expected it to unfold. Is that a bad thing? I know it's a disappointing thing, but maybe it helped, as Susan said, refine what you do want. Now you've got clarity about what you don't want. Maybe it's helping you use that imagination and refine, bring that formless a little more down into the form that best serves Unity of Stockton. And in doing so, with imagination, you get to attract something that's a better fit for you, that serves your needs that much more so than that other building. Just an idea, a thought for you. So with this, imagination is the power in which we create our thoughts. And when we use our imagination, we're able to literally bring the formless into form. We manifest in this world. And because we're fully human and fully divine, we have access to all that formless. We can bring forth what we want to imagine in this world. And when we bring it together in a community and bring like minds together, we add the combined efforts, the combined visioning of that. We can make change, not just in our own personal life, in our own community, but we can make a change in our society, in our world. We have the power to help shape the direction that all we've been witnessing the last year and a half is going. Does that mean it's going to happen tomorrow? I'm, I won't hold my breath on that. But that doesn't mean that it can't happen, that it won't be unfolding, that there aren't changes that are taking place, that we're playing a part in contributing to that, you and I. So with that, I want to close by just saying thank you. Thank you for being that wonderful, imaginative force in the world. Thank you for connecting with and knowing that you're fully human and fully divine to the best of your understanding and ability with that. And knowing that you come together in a community that's here to make a difference. You're here to transform. Some of you very personally to transform. And some of you very focused on the external transformation of the world. And I want to thank you for being those beings and those people. And with that, I say, and so it is. Thank you.